Firstly, I'm just going to introduce everyone that's joining us today. So we have Dr. Suchi, a cybersecurity expert with a PhD in computer science. Dr. Suchi has world-renowned research in network security and e-governance and continues to break new ground in cybersecurity. She will cover historical context, the AI industry, and AI tools usage scenarios for beginners. Then we also have Erin Cook here today, who is a full-time instructor in applied data science and applied artificial intelligence master's programs with a primary focus on AI ethics. And also joining us is Anna, who is a professor of practice in the MS in applied artificial intelligence at USD. She is a PhD candidate, and her research focuses on incorporating human-curated knowledge bases into natural language processing models. And both Erin and Anna will uncover insights, current trends, and growing demand to AI professionals, as well as covering career opportunities. So firstly, I'm just going to introduce Radhika, the marketing manager from USD Online India, and she's just going to talk us through the university legacy and history as well.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Amelia, for the warm introduction. Hello, everyone. I am Radhika Khan, Marketing Manager. It's wonderful to welcome each of you today. Well, I firmly believe that this moment is just not about an introduction. I feel that this is your first step towards the future, which is filled with endless opportunities and possibility in the field of AI. But before we dive into the world of artificial intelligence, let me give you a quick look at the University of San Diego, which is offering a master degree program in AI. With a proud legacy of 70 years, USD has become an international gateway in Southern California, attracting a vibrating community of over 9,000 students from over 85 countries. Well, this is just a degree, it's a launchpad into India's booming tech landscape. With scholarship crafted specifically for Indian students, UST makes high-value, globally recognized education both accessible and relevant to your career path. We are ranked among the top 100 universities by US News and World Report, 54th in the best valued schools by Princeton Review, and within the top 50 in the nation by the Wall Street Journal. USD has always lived up to its expectations. The University of San Diego has been continuously accredited by WASC since 1956. This ensures that our curriculum that we offer and the student experience that we are promising are aligned with the highest standard of the US Department of Education and the Council for Higher Education Accreditation. Now, without taking much of your time, it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Suchi Dheer, our first panelist, a seasoned cybersecurity expert over 16 years of experience. Over to you, Dr. Suchi Dheer.
Thank you, Radhika, for such a kind introduction. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, all good.
Great. Thank you. I'm truly honored to be here with all of you today, and I appreciate the warm welcome. So, to begin our session, we will take a step back and look at the fascinating historical journey of artificial intelligence. AI as a field is one that has evolved significantly over the decades, transforming from theoretical concepts to the practical and industry changing technologies. So let's in today's webinar, let's start with the origins of AI, where early visions of machines with human-like intelligence first began to take shape. The concept can be tracked back to the ancient myths and ancient myths and philosophical discussions and all the papers, research papers which happened, and and the machines which were developed, the Turing machine, which was one of the most important invention. So we can say that from there we saw the rise of early computing systems and AI programs that could actually solve the problems and perform the task. So, however, all that was in very limited scope. So as we move further, in the recent time, we see that, there are a lot of technological advancements which has happened in the hardware as well as in the software part, the technology part, which, we see what AI has shaped today. So throughout our session, we will explore how AI has changed various industries and including cybersecurity. I know that some of you have asked a question on cybersecurity, how AI would be, shaping the cybersecurity. So we'll discuss all that. So let's first quickly look into the historical context of the AI. That's the first slide. So if see the early foundations were laid in early 1940s and 1950s, and the key contributions were from Alan Turing's work, and we can say that his landmark paper that introduced the idea of machines which are being capable of simulating any human cognitive process. So the most famous test that was proposed by Turing is Turing test, which aimed at determining if a machine can exhibit the intelligent behavior, which is distinguishable from a human. So in this test, actually, they did the Allen did test that machine can actually distinguish between the human and machine responses. And the test proved that machine has certain intelligence that can be actually utilized. And then Shannon's research is also significant. We cannot just oversee it. I think all of you would have heard the name of Shannon while studying networking. So the Shannon's theory, which is basically on the principles of data encoding, signal transmission, error correction, and detection. So now, how the Shannon's theory helped in AI is something which is important because the Shannon was part of the most important conference, like we will discuss about this Dartmouth conference as well. So Shannon was one of the participants in this conference. Apart from that, the Shannon has proposed has written a paper, for with the paper outline the strategies for programming a computer to play chess, like how computer can be used to play a chess. So that's one of the most earliest example that is available, which suggests how to apply logic and computation to problem solving. So that's why these two works, Alan Turing and Claude Shannon's work, cannot be overseen when we are talking about the AI. Then after that, this Dartmouth conference came into existence, which actually was another, I would say, important stepping stone. And the term artificial intelligence was coined, in your Dartmouth conference, and all the this was coined by John McCarthy, what's written over here. So, and there were very, your main people like Shannon and Hubbard Simon, which are said to be the key contributors to AI development. They were all part of this conference where, they discussed about the AI. And then comes the eras of 1960s and 1980s, where you see that, symbolic AI. So symbolic AI means, where like, which suggests that basically, that machines can also use the symbols the same way the humans, we used to mimic the problem. We used to mimic the problem, solving. We used to solve the problems, and that can be used for mimic the human problem solving. So then we had the general purpose problem solver machine, which came, and then Eliza chatbot is one more another example that we cannot think of that was created during that time. There were some expert systems that were developed for solving, the problems. And for example, mycin is something which which is very common example, which is used for, which was drastically used for diagnosing the medical, doing the medical diagnosis. Then there is another example apart from mycin. There is we have dendral, that's basically used for doing the chemical analysis. So all these systems, in the early 2000s, we can say that, these are the notable achievements. And these achievements actually, like for example, medical diagnosis, playing chess. So all these were, we can say that, were the stepping stone for creating the AI. And but despite of the success where we have expert systems, we have systems, we have logic for playing chess, with this a human playing chess with the computer system. A real life, adapting to the real world problems was really difficult due to the computational limitations, the hardware. And that's why, with the in the era in 2010s, you see that, the rise of machine learning, deep learning revolution, what we call as, actually helped AI a lot because of hardware also, supportive hardware being present. We see that, algorithms like decision trees, we have support vector machines, and we have algorithms like k nearest neighbors, so for classification. So all these, they really um, helped in stepping what AI looks like today. And availability of the hardware, efficient hardware resources, and the large data sets also actually help machine learning. So if data sets would not have been there, it would have been really difficult to train the models, to understand to analyze those models. So these, the hardware was also one of the important, I would say, part which actually helped shaping up the AI. So then deep learning, neural networks, image and speech recognition, all these are some of the, we can say natural language processings. And then open AIs, GPT, series that you see nowadays, chatbots, we see the voice assistants. So all these are, the breakthroughs which has happened. Amila, can you please change the next slide?
Yeah, of course. Just to let you know, Dr. Suchi, we are running out of time, so maybe just a minute to wrap things up, and then we're going to
Okay,
move
sure.
on.
No worries. So, yeah, so early ambitions of AI were really, for early ambitions, they thought like, that it would be, researchers and scientists thought that, the machines can actually replicate the human cognitive abilities, but they really failed to do so when they started, developing the systems. They realized that uh, things are not working as they thought. And actually, there was a gap between the initial promises that were made by the researchers and actual results that we got. And that period is called as AI winter. And it is, that period is marked by reduced funding and interest as, expectations were not met. Can you move to the next slide? So, problem solver, this is one of the most important landmark, and this machine was designed to simulate the human problem solving. And this is commonly known as a universal problem solving machine that can work on, range of structured problems, such as logical proofs and puzzles. And it basically, is developed to break down complex problems into a series of sub problems and apply a set of logical rules to just find a solution. So that this is I would say again one of the um, key I would say development in the AI. So yes, can you go to the next slide now? Okay, physical symbol system hypothesis. Now, this is also very, very important hypothesis in the AI development of AI, because it says that, symbols are the key to general intelligence. So basically, it means that physical systems such as a computer, is both necessary and sufficient condition, for general intelligence, action. So, for example, like, the humans also use various kind of symbols, like, stop symbol. And when we see these symbols, we can actually we can understand, that what is the context behind and how to manipulate the symbol. So, since humans use symbols to interact or interpret lot of things or, respond to their environment, that's why the physical symbol system hypothesis, is based on creating a general problem solver, which is essential, which basically uses symbols, right? So and it uses symbolical representation for defining the rules, for manipulation, and for the machines to simulate the reasoning. So, yep, Emila, can you go to the next slide? Uh, okay, the Chinese room argument. Now, um, so this is a famous argument because it directly, confronts the physical symbol hypothesis, which we just saw. So it means that, intelligent behavior, as per the symbol theory, which you have seen that, it means that intelligent behavior can be simulated through the interpretation of symbols. However, John, just argues that while machines can be programmed to manipulate the symbols, just to mimic the human intelligence. But it does not mean that they truly understand the meaning of those symbols. So that was the main argument of the John. And he also, this argument is commonly known as Chinese room argument. So he basically, differentiated between syntactic processing, that is your symbol manipulation, and semantic understanding, like, comprehension or the meaning. He said, so, there was a difference between syntactic processing as well as understanding its semantic. For example, imagine a person who does not understand Chinese and is sitting inside a closed room. The room contains a set of detailed instructions or books which are written in a language that they that like, let's say, English. So the person receives the input in form of Chinese characters passed into the room from an external source. Now, by following the instruction in the books, the person matches and manipulates the Chinese characters to produce the appropriate responses. However, the output will not be as appropriate as by someone who is fluent in Chinese, right? So that's what the Chinese argument basically means. So uh, can you go to the next slide?
Sure, yeah. Just to let you know, this will have to be the last slide as we are running behind, but super interesting so far.
So the main, takeaway from John's argument is that symbol manipulation is not equivalent to the true intelligence. So he stated that even though the system can produce responses that seem intelligent, there is no real understanding, right? So, for example, again, we can see that, if you ask Siri or Cortana how they are feeling, they do respond, but their response, you would have noticed that is not always, is with the true understanding that that response is, for example, if you say, how are you feeling today? It might respond to you that I'm just, a digital assistant, but I'm here to help. Or, they can respond to you, but they won't be, the responses won't be exactly as, the human responses. And this highlights basically the John's argument that the current AI systems, even those, those that use advanced natural language processing, do not have the true understanding or consciousness. They can only simulate a conversation through the symbol manipulation, but their responses cannot be considered as human responses. Can we go to the next slide, or would you like me to?
If possible, I think we're going to wrap up now, just conscious of time. Any final remarks before we move on?
Yeah, so if you just go to the next slide and quickly just go to all the slides. So, after that, combinatorial explanation, which, if we keep on feeding a lot of symbols, so it's going to be, not manageable by the system. Can you go to the next slide? So these are some of the challenges of symbolic AI, and the foundations and its limitations, and, the need for adaptation. The next slide. So machine learning is the new approach which is coming up. And then the next slide, we do have data learning, which is again a subset of a deep learning, which is a subset of machine learning, which can be used, to process data in complex ways. And it can also mimic the human brain with similar to like neurons and synapses, where neurons are the nodes and synapses are the connections. Can you go to the next slide, please? And reinforcement learning is learning from the interaction. So, AI learns by interacting with an environment and receiving rewards or penalties. So, whatever interactions are going on, or whatever output is there from the interaction, that's being again used, further to use it. So, can you move to the next slide? So AI through natural, these are some of the evolutionary algorithms which are available. So through natural selection, like, using principles of natural selection to evolve the solutions. So we do have like, BERT and GPT. So these are some of the examples, natural language processing. All these are some of the examples which are used. Next. Okay, so this is just, the comparison between symbolic and new approaches. So symbolic is an example like GPS, and data-driven AI, ML, and deep learning are some of the new approaches which does not use symbolic AI, because we see that, symbolic AI has a lot of disadvantages. Next. In just 1 or 2 minutes, I'll quickly
Yeah, no worries. I think we're going to move on now, but everyone will have your details for after if they want to get in touch, and they'll also have the full slide deck. So yeah, we will now move on to Erin and Anna.
Okay, so yeah, okay, no worries. So I will, I will, I'll welcome my colleague, Dr. Erin Crook, now who would be leading us through the recent advancements in AI and the career opportunities it presents. And Dr. Crook is a full-time instructor in applied data science and applied artificial intelligence master's programs focusing on AI ethics. She's deeply committed to address the ethical challenges of artificial intelligence and ensuring that, students understand the importance of embedding fairness. transparency and accountability into real-world AI applications. I now welcome Erin Cook.
Thank you so much, Dr. Suchi, for such a warm welcome. So let's get started on how AI is going to impact healthcare and pharmaceuticals. We're seeing huge evolution in the space with AI, and we're seeing that potentially impacting about 2.6 to 4.5% of annual revenues, which equates to 60 billion up to 110 billion US dollars annually. So this really significant potential is stemming from the industry's really R&D intensive focus, where 20% of the revenues we're seeing here are allocated within drug development. And so we're seeing AI, in particular generative AI, really expediting the R&D process, which is reducing time and giving the space in this field to have such a huge exponential growth. So if we can move on to the next slide. So breakthroughs in AI for healthcare in particular, we're seeing so many breakthroughs here. We're seeing AI in medical research, where if you guys remember during COVID, we saw in real time that AI is speeding up the development of vaccines. With AI-enabled wearable devices, we're seeing the integration of AI in smartwatches, with glucose monitors, and we're at a point now where we have, instead of just individual windows of data points to monitor health, we're having, real-time health, which is really expediting this field. We're seeing AI in mental health, which I'm tentatively optimistic about, where we're having tools assess mental health. There's an application called WISA, which is an AI-powered chatbot, which offers mental health advice. It's kind of one of the first ones on the market. And we're seeing AI in telemedicine as well. So we're seeing AI enhance platforms by providing diagnostic support. We're even seeing AI, our large language models, able to transcribe notes and make recommendations for doctors so that they can have that one-on-one patient support instead of, trying to take notes and talk to the patient. So we're seeing a lot of breakthroughs here. Can we go to the next slide? Perfect. The current trends in healthcare would be AI-powered diagnostics and imaging. We're seeing AI increasingly used to interpret X-rays and MRIs. And we're seeing a lot of progress where in some applications, not all AI is able to recognize cancer in MRIs at a higher rate than physicians are. And we're seeing that even changes before cancer appears that are not visible to the naked eye, AI is able to pick up on that. So there's a lot of promise for the diagnostics that are coming out of this field. Like I mentioned before, we're seeing the natural language processing in healthcare records. We're seeing predictive analytics for personalized medicine. AI models are now being used to analyze genetic data, patient history, lifestyle factors, which for once, instead of that one size fits all medical treatment we've all received, we're finally able now to tailor personalized treatments to our genetics. AI-driven discovery, like I mentioned, with the pharmaceutical, we're seeing a lot of rapid increase in speeding up drug discovery process by identifying potential drug candidates, reducing the time and cost of bringing new drugs to market that can really help expedite the drug discovery. I mentioned also virtual health assistants and chatbots. They are able to offer healthcare advice, triage, symptoms checking, and really just enhance patient access to healthcare services while reducing the burden on healthcare professionals. And another really exciting current trend we're seeing is robotic surgery. We have these surgical robots, which are powered by AI, and they're able to be more precise and slightly less invasive than the human hand. And we've just seen a successful trial with Neuralink, the brain computer face implant, where they were able to use a robotic arm to thread the fibers through for the brain computer interface. There's a lot going on in this field. Next slide, please. Let's talk about job opportunities. So I just want to start off, when we talk about job opportunities, there isn't specific classifications in this field as of yet. So you might see a lot of overlap when Anna and I talk about job opportunities. So that's totally normal. But what we're seeing in the healthcare field is we're seeing a lot of new opportunities for AI research scientists, where you will be leading research initiatives and AI-driven healthcare solutions. You will focus on maybe algorithm development, clinical applications. What you'll need would be a strong academic background, expertise in machine learning, and experience in clinical research environments. Clinical AI specialists, you would work directly with healthcare professionals to implement those AI technologies in those clinical workflows. And you be responsible for ensuring systems meet regulatory standards while also, of course, improving patient care. So skills required might be a background in healthcare, knowledge of AI systems, and the ability to bridge the gap between technical and clinical terms. Where another opportunity is sorry, 1 second. There was one more AI engineer in healthcare, where you design AI algorithms, pardon, for healthcare applications such as diagnostics, imaging, and drug discovery. So next, I am thrilled to introduce Anna. She's a full-time professor of practice in our Applied Artificial Intelligence program. Her expertise includes web scraping, executive level analyses, data modeling, and developing and deploying machine learning models. So she will share her insights from her extensive experience. So go ahead,
Thanks.
Anna.
Thanks, Erin. I'm very glad to be here. I know we're super short on time, so I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. But right now, I'm going to be talking about kind of the application of AI in the agriculture industry, which is growing like crazy, like you'll see throughout this presentation. Pretty much every industry, the use of AI is growing like crazy. But in agriculture specifically, it's projected to grow from $1.7 billion last year to $4.7 billion by 2028. So that's like almost a 3-time increase in just a few years. One of the big things that we see is that the use of AI in agriculture is supposed to increase agricultural productivity. And so, once again, not quite a twofold increase by 2030 on the productivity side of things. And then same idea here, we're really expecting one of the things that we see is that an increase in crop yields. So again, that productivity by 20 to 30%. And then aside from, we're able to increase the crop yield, but also reduce the use of fertilizer by 15 to 20%. So that's another cost saving, but also, environmentally, we always like to see fewer chemicals going into the soil when it's not needed. So go ahead to the next slide. Some of the breakthroughs that we're seeing are in pest control. So actually using computer vision to identify pests and then provide insights about where those pesticides are needed. There are technologies to analyze the soil health. And so again, kind of more targeted application of water. So you can hook your system that measures the soil health up to your irrigation system, and then you are using less water over your crops. This particular technology, CropX, says that it's led to 57% reduction in water usage and 15% reduction in fertilizer usage, while also again increasing the yield up to 70%. So that's pretty exciting. And then another breakthrough that we're seeing is in actual weed detection. So not just pest control, but also weed control. Again, they're using robotics to identify those weeds and then do targeted removal of the weeds, either with actual manual removal with a robot or herbicide application. So go ahead to the next screen. And so like Erin said, you're going to see pretty similar job titles throughout this because there isn't a lot of range in the job titles themselves, but in agriculture, if you get hired as an AI engineer, that's where you're really developing and deploying those machine learning models. So you're working kind of on the back end to figure out how can we build and train these models to be used in these applications that we just talked about. You could be, again, an agricultural technologist is one of the titles. And here's where you're in touch with the people on the ground. So you're actually there implementing the technologies. You're an expert in those technologies, making sure that they run correctly, doing all the networking that's necessary for that. And then there's another title called the Precision Agriculture Specialist. And so that's more looking at those specific, the kind of the robotic side of things. So trying to come up and control those robotics that are going to be doing that precise work on the field. Okay, go ahead. I think back to you, Erin. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so I would like to talk about the role of AI in manufacturing now. And this sector has really high hopes for AI. According to a Deloitte survey, it was on AI adoption, manufacturing, 93% of companies believe that AI will be a pivotal technology to drive growth and innovation in this sector. The market size, excuse me, I'm under the weather today, guys, in the manufacturing sector is expected to exceed $2 billion US, which is posting an average annual growth of more than 40%, and that's up from 2019. And even the rise of AI in China's manufacturing sector has been boosted by favorable policies, ample funds, and the potential for AI implementation. And you can see here that on this survey that manufacturing is creating loads of data used for these wonderful insights. They're creating 1,812 petabytes. And just to put that in perspective, like an estimate of a petabyte is the equivalent of, like, you guys remember those old school filing cabinets, like 20 million tall filing cabinets or 500 billion pages of standard printed text. So there's loads of data being generated here, loads of opportunity. So let's go on and look at the breakthroughs in the manufacturing sector. So the first one would be the AI-driven smart factories. So the concept of smart factories, kind of like where AI and IoT automation converge, has really become a reality as of late. AI is managing and optimizing the entire production floor in some factories, and this allows for self-regulation, self-improving systems. So really, we're seeing Industry 4.0, and they have just embraced all things to enable machinery and boost performance, and it allows for self-optimization. We're also seeing really cool is AI and human augmentation. So where we'll have humans have these wearables on where they can augment their abilities of factory workers, and that would help, with putting, strain with a physical task, but also it can improve a user's strength up if you're wearing one of those exoskeletons up to 20 times. So, there's just, you can go a lot faster and do a lot more with this augmentation. Of course, we're also seeing autonomous mobile robots, and these are just AI-powered robots that can move independently around the factory floor to help with the transportations of materials, parts, finished products, just, helping improve logistics and material handling. Let's go on to current trends. We're seeing many current trends with predictive maintenance. BMW in particular, that's a really cool factory. They're using AI to monitor their machine performance in real time. So they're able to predict when maintenance is needed. And because of that, they're able to minimize their downtime and extend the lifespan of their factory equipment. AI-powered quality control. Companies like Landing AI develop computer vision systems that can detect these microscopic defects in their semiconductors. With supply chain optimization. Talk about, again, BMW's factory. They are able to optimize their logistics and materials handling, and they've just automated all their tasks like tracking and parts delivery. So basically, they've really upped their overall operational efficiency. There's a really interesting talk at the AWS reInvent on how they've optimized their factory with AI, if you guys are interested in checking that out. Generative design, of course, we have to mention that. We're seeing this help, especially for engineers, create these optimized product designs. They just set their parameters, like what materials, what weight they want, and then AI will just generate multiple design alternatives, and then they can choose from there. So it's really saving time for these engineers. Okay, let's go on to our job opportunities. Once again, like Anna said, I mentioned, these are going to look really similar, and that's okay. But in this particular domain, we'll see an AI engineer where you'll be developing algorithms for automation. You'll be working on predictive maintenance, process optimization. You'll need your expertise in machine learning, robotics, computer vision, and maybe experience with manufacturing systems and IoT integration. We'll have our automation specialists where we'll design and implement automated systems, including robotics, AI-powered machines, and basically help streamline manufacturing processes. So you may need some background knowledge of robotics, AI technologies, industrial systems. And of course, we have data scientists listed in here, which kind of falls under the umbrella where you will have a chance to use all that data and analyze production the data to uncover the insights, optimize processes, and of course, forecast future performance. So you'll need strong analytical skills for this role, expertise in data mining, statistical modeling, and experience probably would help with manufacturing data sets. And so kick it back to Anna for current trends in retail.
Yeah, so retail and customer service is another industry where we're seeing a huge growth in the use of AI. So, according to one survey, 87% of retailers have already deployed some sort of AI in their business, and 60% are planning to increase their AI investments soon. And by 2025, 80% of retail executives expect to adopt some sort of AI automation in their company as well. So on the consumer side, we actually have 75% of consumers who say that they're more likely to return to an online shopping experience if they have a personalized experience. So kind of the other side, the effect of using the AI. And then on the customer service side, it's been shown that you can actually increase the productivity of customer support humans by using AI by almost 14%. So go ahead, next slide. And so some of the trends that we're seeing or the breakthroughs that we're seeing through, again, those personalized product recommendations, which are not new. That's kind of one of the earlier touch points for a lot of us in AI. But so if you think about Amazon shopping experience where they're showing you personalized recommendations based on your own history and also the history of other users like you. So that's one of the main ones in retail. There's also some cool things that maybe you guys have seen. So you can do a virtual try on. So this one retail company, Warby Parker, they actually have developed a technology where you can load a picture of yourself and then you can try on. I think that they are a glasses company. And so you can try on glasses based on your picture and see how they would look. But there are other technologies that are doing the same kind of thing on your whole body or placing an object. So if you're buying furniture, placing an object in your room to see how it would look before you buy it. One of the things that millennials especially apparently prefer is to do a visual product search. So instead of typing out, I'm looking for this kind of a product, they actually see a product that they like and they just take a picture and then they can shop for that based on the picture. So that's something that we're starting to see. And then automated customer service, that's also been around for quite a while, but the use is growing quite a bit. So we've got the AI agents, so the chatbots with automated responses, but then on the back end, you're seeing a lot of use of AI in routing those support tickets and actually generating help articles so that, again, it saves the actual human some time. So go ahead to the next screen. So the job opportunities in this field, so we've got the market research analyst. So this is kind of more on the data science side of things. So actually looking at the data behind those purchases and the business side of things to try to increase the sales for the retail. And sometimes those research analysts will be just coming up with those kind of the data insights, but sometimes they actually then turn those insights into recommendations for new AI implementations, ways that we could be using AI to increase the business. In this field, the machine learning engineer roles are largely the kind of on the recommendation sides of things. And so that's where you're getting into building those models that'll be building out or serving those personalized recommendations. And you do see those kind of in the e-retail space like Amazon. But then also we're seeing on the other side of things, so like TikTok has a job posting actually right now, or at least when I was building these slides for a recommendation engineer to serve video ads. So that's also part of the retail, right? The marketing side of things, and kind of pipeline people through the ads to their e-commerce sites. So there's a lot there in the recommendation world. And then again, we've got the technical architect. And so for Salesforce, at least, these folks are not quite customer support for the tech, but they are there to help implement these AI technologies for their customers. So Salesforce has some of these AI technologies. They're a B2B company, obviously. And so they have people on their staff who are experts in the technologies themselves and help their consumers, their customers, set those up and run them for their own companies. Okay, Erin, I think this is you.
Yeah. So we have to, of course, look at artificial intelligence and for social good in this space. I'm just going to touch on these briefly because Anna and I have already covered a lot of these because these span multiple domains. There's not, just one domain that these all lie in. So we're seeing artificial doing so many good things. And I talked about how they're helping in the healthcare field. Anna's talked about how they've been helping in agriculture, even in renewable energy. With predictions to reduce the usage of fossil fuels. We're seeing AI help with flood predictions, helping the global bee population survive, and with wildlife and marine conservation efforts. And one that I'm particularly excited about would be the advances in education and how AI has potential to close the gap between, the different demographics of students, those maybe who have more resources for extracurricular support and those that don't. I'm excited to see AI help close that gap and level the playing field a bit for everybody. So that's what we're seeing happening in this space. And so, of course, we have to talk about the jobs here. There's a wide range of jobs. Would you mind going to the next slide, please? We are looking at humanitarian AI specialists. They will help design AI systems to enhance the efficiency of humanitarian aid distribution, disaster response, crisis management. You'll have a chance to work with international organizations to develop tools that prioritize assistance and monitor emergency conditions. So maybe skills required might be experience in AI-driven disaster response tools, knowledge of humanitarian needs, global issues, and of course, expertise in data analysis, AI model development. Another potential job would be an AI environmental sustainability analyst, where you'd use AI to predict climate-related events, optimize resource usage such as water, energy, and reduce environmental impact in industries. So you'd be collaborating with environmental organizations to design solutions for protecting ecosystems and reducing emissions. So it's good to have experience with environmental data sets like your climate data, maybe even satellite imagery data, proficiency in machine learning and predictive modeling, and maybe some sort of background or knowledge of environmental services. And this is such a broad category. You could even be an AI policy advisor. There's a lot of those up and coming now where, you need someone with that technical background, but also the ability to advise governments and organizations and advocacy on groups and policies related to AI for social good. Basically, you'd ensure that AI regulations and practices promote fairness and transparency, the ethical use of AI in areas like some hot areas are healthcare, justice, and environmental protection. So you need to have that technical background, but also strong background in public policy and understanding of the regulations and expertise in legal and policy frameworks as they relate to AI. And I'm going to pass it on to Anna for FinTech. Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you. So very quickly, fintech kind of encompasses any company that has technology related to managing finance. So this is banking companies, investment companies, all of those are kind of wrapped up into fintech. And by 2031, they are predicting that AI and fintech will reach $61.3 billion of investment. And this chart kind of shows some of the top use cases for AI in fintech. So the technologies are being used to help lower some bills, solve customer service, which we talked about earlier, provide budgeting and spending advice, finding and managing your online subscriptions. So I know that's a big budgeting piece for a lot of people, and then actually providing financial educational advice as well. Okay, go next slide. So some of the breakthroughs that we're seeing here, there are companies who are using AI for risk management assessment. So they've got models that will actually automate the credit processing and provide personalized rates and pricing for those loans. So this is more on the banking side of doing the risk management, deciding who to give loans to, what kind of credit is available to an individual. There's fraud detection, which is a huge industry in itself, doing that cybersecurity side of things. But for fintech specifically, they've got models that are looking for fraudulent activity. They actually use both your historical data and your current activity, usually in these models. And these companies that are doing this, they can provide you with a custom model. So for your users particular, but then they also have kind of a pre-trained model available that you can just plug and play. So if you're a smaller company, sometimes that's helpful. And then there are also a lot of models that are doing financial forecasting. So this is on the business side of things. They might be doing demand forecasting for you, dynamic pricing, that kind of things, if you're a customer focused company. But then there are also financial forecasting models that will do more like investment forecasting, all sorts of, forecasting, again, both like fraud detection is kind of an industry in itself. So there's too much for me to say there, but just know if you're interested in it, looking at forecasting is a very interesting and growing field right now. So next slide.
Amazing. If possible, if we can wrap things up, we're going to move on to the Q&A, but feel free to take another minute or two. Very interesting.
I will. I think we can just move on. So these are some more job titles that you'll see. They kind of go along with those breakthroughs that I just discussed. I think the future of AI is talk in itself, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But part of what we had for today was basically saying it's everywhere. So it's everywhere already, and it's going to expand. If you're interested, there's this chart is really cool. So I think you'll get the slides after the webinar, and you can take some time to kind of look into it. But the big takeaway is that AI is a part of our future, and it's kind of unavoidable at this point. So
yeah.
Okay, so I will then hand it over to Karmir Singh. He's a senior admissions leader who's going to walk us through the details of the online degree programs offered by the university. So over to you, Karmir.
Hey, thank you, Anna. Thank you, everybody, for the insight about the program. So other than MS in Applied Artificial Intelligence, we are offering a few other courses also via India Online program. And those are MS in Applied Data Science, MS in Cybersecurity Engineering, MS in Cybersecurity Operations and Leadership. All our technical programs, as you can see. We can move to the next slide as we are already running out of time, so I won't take much time. Yeah. So I saw a few questions related to eligibility criteria. It is in front of you. So if you are going to apply via India Online, you should not be a resident of US. You must be proficient in English. You should have a valid ID proof, be it any part of the world, a valid ID proof for sure. You must be holding a valid undergraduate degree. In case if it's a 4-year degree, you should have scored around more than 45%, means second class, or it should be accredited via AICTE, UGC. And in case if it's a 3 years degree, the NAC grade should be A or above that, and you should have scored more than 60%, means first division, obviously. And if your medium of instruction is not English, in that case, EPT is required, English proficiency test. So it is also already mentioned, if you're going with IELTS, you should score 7.0 or above. In case TOEFL, it's 83, Duolingo is 120. We can move to the next slide, please. Yeah, so these are a few enrolled academic professionals in case if you want to actually, connect them and get some insights about how they have feeler about, going with our program, you can actually get in touch with them over their LinkedIn. They have actually shown their interest to share their experiences. And if you see, we have mentioned the name of few companies, or, alumni are working in few of these. We can move to the next slide, please. Yeah, so this is something important. See, since I'm from the admissions team, so I would be talking more about the admissions. So in case if you are an enrolled learner, we are running a referral program for the people. So once you are enrolled and you are referring somebody and post the successful enrollment of the person, we would be actually providing you 25,000 INR discount voucher. So you can actually use that money to pay off your fee already, means, see, it's half of your semester fee, so it's a big amount, right? Yep, next slide, please. Yeah, so we are done here. So we'll be taking a few queries that we have received from a few of the interested people. Just a second. Yeah, the first question is from Alok Nanda Patra. He asks, what may be the expenses of the course? So if you are talking about MS in Applied Artificial Intelligence, the total program fee is INR 7 lakhs. And then post your profile evaluation, actually, there is some scholarship program that we are currently running. So it can go up to 35%. So that depends, means it can go, and we have EMI options also available with us. It's a no cost EMI in case if you're going to go with that. The monthly program fee would come around 13,125 for 36 months. Yeah, that's it. The second question is by Mansi Katyal. She asks, will the certificate be provided? So dear, it's a fully fledged master's degree. You would be getting a degree for that. Yeah. And then the next question is from Sanidhya Solanki. He's asking, will I get to learn about basics of programming languages? Yeah. So in order to, go with this program, we the programming languages that are required, we are actually taking from the basic level. So yes, Python, we would be teaching you from this from the basic, and we'll be taking to the advanced level. Yeah. Milaku. Milaku is asking, what kind of support do you give us for fundamental change, or in what ways do you support us to achieve our goals? So what I understand from this question, that you want to understand that how we're going to deliver the program to you for your better understanding. So yeah, see, we understand this program, we have this online program, we have especially tailored, keeping in mind the needs of the people who are working professionals. So what happens is you need to manage your work life. So accordingly, it's a fully fledged online program, but at the same time, there are discussion sessions in order to help you with the queries or doubts that you may have. So you can actually have this conversation along with your peers, industry experts. There are one-on-one sessions as per your needs. In case you actually want to have a one-on-one discussion with your faculty, you can do that based on their availability, obviously, and the relevance of the topic. and it is not limited to any numbers. Then there are projects to give you a feeler about how actually things are done. It's not just about mugging up the things, writing up your answers and getting the degree. At the University of San Diego, what we believe is it's all about having the experience of what we are learning. So that's how we are actually going to make you do that. Then the next question is, I want to continue my studies in your university. I am an Cameroonian. Yes, you can do that. As I mentioned, you should not be a resident of US. So yes, a person from Cameroon can do that for sure. You're welcome. Lalit Kishore has asked, this all will be on online platform? Yes, it is on an online platform. It is fully online. Even your exams, we understand. See, your exams are also fully online. But yes, nowadays we have an option to go hybrid in case you want to do that. You can do that too in case you want to have a feeler of the university, going there, collect your degree from there. So you can do that too. We would be considering you as one of our on-campus students only. And then Ishan Thakur, he has asked, in this what's that, yeah, in this online MS degree, is this online MS degree really worth it? Is it recognized for further studies in future? Yes, it is. See it, uh, the curriculum is the same. Even we have the accreditation from WES and WASC, that is Western Association of Schools and Colleges. So yes, your degree is recognized, and across the globe you can actually go for further studies, and depends upon the rules as per the country. So for example, if you're actually pursuing your studies in US, you want to go for a PhD, you can do that. Even in UK also you can do that, because WES would be the body to evaluate your certificates, and then accordingly you can further your studies. Yeah. The next question is from Vruti, I believe. Anna, you can take the question. I'll read it out for you. What's the scope of securing a job in AI field as a computer science baccalaureate fresher?
Yeah, so I think this advice is the advice that I give to most of my students. Or as a student, you actually have an opportunity to get in touch with companies. So if there's a company or a particular field that you're really excited about, get in touch while you're still a student, and see if you can get an internship or do a project using their data. And that's a really great way to kind of get get experience before you graduate. And then once you graduate from the master's program, you'll be set to, if you don't have that working experience, that's fine. You'll probably be in a good position to kind of start out as a low level AI practitioner or an intern, and then kind of work your way from there. But if you do get that experience, that working experience while you're doing school, you can start off after graduation at a higher level.
Thank you, Anna. Yeah. We have a question from Ashish. Irene, if you can take the question. It is, please share a roadmap on how a CISO can incline their career towards AI and AI security in specifics.
Yeah, so I mean, to start off, you'd have to look at a couple things. Of course, you'd have to go through and get your foundational knowledge and your skill development in place. So that would be going through the program. But also, I mean, at the same time, because that's the thing with AI and just kind of these data science fields in general, is that they fall under so many domains. So for your particular question, you'd want to be able to have the background understanding in your domain, so like the advanced AI security training. So you'd want to make sure you gain the practical experience with AI and security. Make sure that you are fully aware of like explainable AI and all those things that go into the security, and understand how AI-driven security infrastructure works. And yeah, and then of course, like Anna said, it's always a great idea, if you're interested, try to get your feet wet while you're studying and reach out. Or if that doesn't work, I always tell my students, there's always loads of volunteer opportunities as well. So get involved in those so that you can start gaining that practical experience while you're getting your master's. Anna, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think the only thing is if I'm reading the question correctly, if you already have a role as a CISO, you're probably in a good position. You've already got that domain experience. And so then it's really just a matter of getting the stakeholders within your company to agree to let you add in that AI side of things, maybe hire some AI specialists underneath you. But I do think that being in that CISO role as a person who understands AI, it's going to be really helpful for your team in the future to have that understanding where a lot of it's very common in companies to hire AI specialists with no particular plan or vision for how to use them, but just to say we want AI. So I do think it's really valuable for someone in that role to go through the program and have the understanding of the AI on the more technical side of things.
Yeah, thank you so much. Won't be taking much questions now as we are already running out of time. 6 minutes extra we have taken. So just one last question for Erin. I want to know the AI impact in the field of cybersecurity and ethical hacking, how it may affect in the future.
I think that's a question for Dr. Shuchi, actually.
Yeah. Doctor, if you could answer this question.
Yeah, thank you, Karmveer. So, in cybersecurity, we know that there are various tools which are actually, required for threat detection, anomaly detection, and with the techniques in AI, it's possible to, detect the anomalies and the traditional systems, they generally rely on your predefined rules for detecting threats. So AI can be used to, to learn from the historical data, to identify the evolving attack patterns. Machine learning algorithms can be used. There are user and entity behavior analytics, which is basically, can help to understand the deviations which take place, and also automated response systems can be used. So there are various, cases where AI can be actually used in cybersecurity.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Suchitir. Yeah, so as I mentioned that we are already running out of time, so won't be taking more questions now. Emilia, can we move to the next slide, please?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so I thank you all of you to join us. For more queries, as I can see many questions are still not answered here, you can just drop your email on the mentioned email address as students@indiaonline.cindio.edu. We would be assigning you a dedicated student relationship manager or academic counselors who would be assisting you with the admission processes, the details you may need to know, and then, we can get in touch. Yeah, Emilia, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone, and thanks for all the amazing questions and engagement we've had in the chat. Apologies that we couldn't get to all the questions, but be sure to get in touch, and obviously we'll follow through with everything via email as well. So yeah, thank you so much to all the lovely panelists we've had today. Super interesting, and we will be in touch soon. Bye, everybody.
Fine. Thank you so much. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah.